Another episode of United, a podcast for change. I'm Lori, your host. Today, we are going to be talking about everything trans, cis, heteronormative, heterononconformative, all the different words. I'd like to welcome everyone for joining. How this works, the goal here is to speak to people, and that means you, people. So, how this works is there's a link in the video description there that if you click the link, you follow the prompts, you can actually appear on camera in the screen next to me. We'll get to hear you. There's an option if you're not ready for your close up, which is fine. You can also turn off your camera and it would be audio only. If you're more comfortable with putting your thoughts in the comments, that's perfectly fine too. It's whatever everyone is comfortable with. Uh, One thing, especially on topics such as like this, I do ask that everyone treat everyone else respectfully. Um, this is about bridging divides and not causing further divides. So if we can refrain from any name calling, uh, it's let's try to treat each other with respect and kindness because at the end of the day, we all want that. It's treat others how you want to be treated. So we're going to start off with what is transgender? And according to the American Psychological Association, so this is not my opinion, this is according to the experts, transgender is an umbrella term for persons whose gender identity, gender expression, or behavior does not conform to that typically associated with the sex to which they were assigned at birth. Gender identity refers to a person's internal sense of being male, female, or something else. Gender expression refers to the way a person communicates gender identity to others through behavior, clothing, hairstyles, voice, or body characteristics. Characteristics. I know words. So that's what it is. We're all, as humans, either assigned male or female at birth, usually based upon what's between our legs. There are also intersex people, and that's where it's not clear whether a person is male or female at birth. Some people end up with a little bit of both. This is nothing new. This has been going on. We used to say hermaphrodite. This has been around forever. Certainly been around for, my lifetime and longer than my lifetime, and I'm 53, almost 54. And, you know, there's so much going on in the news lately with different, anti-trans laws, the bathroom bills, um, laws about pronouns. I I was assigned female at birth, and I'm female. So I don't have a dog in this hunt when it comes to transgender. I have friends who are transgender. I know people who are transgender, and personally, I don't have an issue. And I don't believe I have the right to have an issue with someone else's existence. It's We have freedom, right? So someone has the freedom to be who they are and be who they want to be, whether I like it or not. And I believe that everyone in this country, specifically, I'm an American citizen, so I'm going to speak about this country. we have those rights. You know, there was a long time where women couldn't wear pants, even though it was a lot easier to put on than the layers of clothing that women had to wear. You know, it was a big thing. Katharine Hepburn, oh my God, she's in pants. And now we're like, so what? Because it should be so what? We should, like, don't we have the freedom to wear what we want no matter who we are? You know, there are videos, the People of Walmart videos, which I personally like. I don't like them because it's making fun of people because of the way that they're dressed. And I have bills to pay. So how someone dresses has no effect on my life. So, you know, it's not something that I don't feel that I have the right to tell people what they can and can't wear. If a man wants to dress, you know, stereotypically like a woman, so, you know, and that's just whether they can be, it can be drag. I mean, drag isn't transgender. It's mostly men creating a female character and performing as that character. There are also biological women that do drag, that create drag characters. We've been watching, you know, and I'm not going to get too far off the point, but you know, we've been watching men in drag since at least the time of Shakespeare, because at the time of Shakespeare, women couldn't perform on stage. So when there were female roles, they were played by men. So, you know, this is nothing new. Um, you know, and I've just been seeing, just it seems like we go through these cycles of where we like to demonize groups of people. And that's been throughout our history. And, you know, you don't have to like someone who is trans. You don't. You don't have to invite a trans person into your home. You don't have to talk to trans people. You don't have to associate with trans people. You don't, because you have that freedom. When it comes to society, trans people exist and they're citizens, so they have rights. And personally, I feel that everyone should be at least supporting trans rights in terms of, you know, what you can wear and that sort of thing. Because if the government can tell a trans person what they can and cannot wear, then they can tell people who aren't trans what they can and cannot wear. And yes, I know that there are you know, dress codes in schools and that sort of thing. You know, but those are employers. That isn't the government. You know, and you can choose to not work somewhere that has a dress code you don't agree with. You have a choice of going to a different school or being homeschooled if you don't agree with a dress code that a school has. Or you go to school board meetings and you get the dress code changed. You know, in those instances, you don't have to take what's put on the paper. You know, you have the choice to go somewhere else. But when it's the government making laws about how we can express ourselves, personally, I find that to be unconstitutional violation of the First Amendment, because we have the right to the freedom of expression in the First Amendment. You know, and it's also fair to point out that at the time, you know, the Constitution was being written, Men were wearing high heels. High heels weren't made for women, they were made for men. You know, so, we've started off that just transgender, yes, biologically there's male and female. Intersex, it's medical anomalies. And with intersex, because there can also be chromosomal defects, something genetically. But here's the thing, and this is just an example to think about. You have someone who is intersex, they can't, it's their genitalia is ambiguous. So they're assigned male at birth. But genetically, they feel more female. But you've been assigned to be a boy. Well, now what? That person has to suffer their entire life feeling like they're in the wrong body? How is that fair? And it's I see so many comments and videos and all sorts of things, where so many act as if this is just a black and white issue, that it's, either this or this. And no one seems to be taking into consideration the gray area. The bathroom bills, that it's you go to in the bathroom of the sex you were assigned at birth. Now, and I've said previously, I've been in unisex bathrooms where it's a big bathroom. It's open to everyone, and there's stalls on one side, urinals on another wall, and then the sinks on another wall. I've been in those bathrooms. I personally don't have a problem with a trans woman coming into a bathroom to use the bathroom. I don't care if a biological man comes into a bathroom to use a bathroom. In those instances, the problem is rapists coming into the bathroom. And I'm not going to assume that just because someone has a penis between their legs, that if they come into a ladies' room, that they're there to do me harm. And on the opposite side of that coin, it's okay to have that worry. But here's the thing. This is a trans man. This is someone born biologically female. Here's another. We can keep going. Here's another. This is Cher's son, Chaz, who was born chastity. But looking at these pictures, these bathroom laws say that those people have to go into a ladies' room. So how are biological women supposed to know the difference between a biological male and a trans male? How are we supposed to know? Like, that doesn't seem to solve the problem. And being transgender it's nothing new. And on the screen now, this is a picture of Christine Jorgensen. And she was the first person in the United States to receive sex reassignment surgery in 1954. She was born George, who served in World War II. And in 1952, he went to Denmark, which was one of the few countries at the time doing any type of, gender affirming surgery. And he had the first surgery done. He was castrated, and that was in 1952. And then in 1954, here in the States, he had the vaginoplasty surgery. 1954. And Christine isn't the first. There are gender reassignment surgeries going back to the early 1900s in Germany and overseas. This indigenous people, some Native American tribes have what's called two-spirit people. This is nothing new, and lately I'm just seeing where, and now it's trans people are groomers, because that's the fun word of the day, that everyone we don't like, they're groomers. And I think as a country we have to get away from just this nonsense that if it's somebody I don't like for whatever reason, they're evil. There is actual evil in the world. Somebody who honestly feels like they were born in the wrong body, it's not evil. These people existing, it's not evil. And I think we need to get back to actual facts, not someone's opinion as fact, and none of my opinions are being offered as fact. People are free to believe what they want, comment as they like. But we need to get back to actual truth, not alternative facts, actual truth. And I've actually reviewed the latest, where is it? Oh, no, not that. The latest Standards of Care for the Health of Transgender and Gender Diverse People, version 8. This was published September 15th, 2022, by the International Journal of Transgender Health. And it is 260 pages that I've read, that they go over just the different, assessments of adults, minors, or, teenagers, and then children. And, ways for healthcare professionals, it's the standard of care, like how to treat people that present with transgenderism. And nowhere for children does it say surgery. Nowhere. In fact, it's 260 pages. I'm scrolling through. You know, the biggest takeaway from this is the mental health aspect and the, treatment by a therapist before, during, it's there is no, I woke up today and I I believe I'm a man. So I'm going to go today and I'm going to go get surgery to cut parts of my body off and add others. And, it's done in a day. That that's not happening. There is clear, like, mental health treatment for people with, body dysphoria, gender identity issues. It's not, "Hey, I'm 5 and I think I'm a girl, so we're gonna go cut body parts off." That's not how it works, but that's how people seem to think that it works, or that there are people pushing for children to be trans or gay. And, you know, there may be, because it's one of those areas where you can't say, well, it never happens or it always happens. And, again, the gray area. Are there people claiming to be trans that aren't? Probably. It's possible. You know, school is rough. And sometimes kids suck and they're mean and they bully, and you see, someone that you think is like the cool kid and you want to be just like them. So, maybe you see someone who is trans, who is legit trans, but and you see them getting, attention and, no one can say that that doesn't happen. That there is no person using trans to, try to be cool. You can't say that there's no one using trans for clicks and likes. That they want to be, an Instagram influencer. We can't say that that doesn't happen. Is it the majority of people that are trans? No. Of course not. That would be ridiculous. But it seems like so many act like that. They're pushing it on kids. People existing isn't pushing it on anyone. It's the parents don't like it and they don't know how to explain it to their kids when their kids ask a question. So you not being able to have a conversation or being afraid to have a conversation because you got a shit take on it and it's a shit take, but you don't want to say those words to your kid, well, that doesn't make that trans person wrong. That doesn't make that trans person evil or a groomer or forcing their lifestyle on your kid. It just means you need to learn to communicate better. And this latest, rage of, parental rights. The parents have the right to dictate the curriculum at the school. Not really. The world at large doesn't care how you raise your kid. There are facts and information that your child needs in order to be able to function in society when they're an adult, whether you like it or not. There are going to be gay kids in your kid's school. There, even if you're in some type of parochial school, it's not a guarantee that there won't be any gay kids. There will just be gay kids that are afraid to say that they're gay. You know, that's where it seems like a lot of people just get it wrong, that it's, I don't want my kid to know about that. Why would you not want your kid to have all the information? These are questions that we should be asking ourselves as people and as parents. Why are you so opposed to trans people? And quit trying to make things something that they're not. You know, should there be trans women in women's sports? I don't know. I think that's something for the sports leagues to figure out. Is it fair for a trans woman who's already been through, puberty as a male and has developed their body as a male? Is that fair? No, it's not. You know, but I've seen a couple instances where it's a women's sport and the trans woman has come in second or third. First place or first and second place went to biological women. And it's the people that came in under that are that they're complaining, because it's like, hey, this biological male had an advantage. Well, maybe over you, fourth place finisher, but didn't have an advantage over the people that came in first and second, or the person that came in first. But sports will figure this out. If it gets to the point where there's so many trans people in different sports, and it's where there's a clear advantage over biological participants, well, then sports will make a trans league. So that'll work itself out. And if, bathrooms, it's going to work itself out somehow. I just wish that lawmakers would take everything into consideration before they write these bills. Because if the law says that this biological female has to use a ladies' room, well, when this biological female walks into a ladies' room, all of the other women in the room are going to be like, you're in the wrong room. You need to be in the men's room. And then where does it stop? I saw a video of she's a lesbian, but was dressed more, masculine, no makeup, and was in the line at the ladies' room and got pulled out by police because somebody thought that she was a man. So, women, biological women, we don't all walk around with, a full face of makeup and dresses and super, super feminine. So, but because we're biological women, we're supposed to be in the ladies' room. So, what happens when a biological woman is kicked out of a ladies' room because she doesn't look feminine enough? Are are we okay with a pat down, a strip search? Do people need to bring ID to go to the bathroom? And, you know, what if you're what if you don't have a feminine name or a masculine name? If your name is Alex, you can be female or male. So if you're a biological female and somebody questions that, do you have to flash the police or the person questioning you? I am all for keeping rapists out of the ladies' room. Absolutely. Somebody trans, a trans woman, that doesn't automatically make them a rapist. So we need to look at things. And, I've seen, people complaining of, where they're cisgender, that it's an insult. Uh, it's like saying, I'm not heterosexual, I'm straight. Don't call me heterosexual. Like, we really need to ask ourselves why we feel the way that we do about people that are different. And while you're allowed to not like people that are different, we don't get to infringe on the rights of people that are different, that aren't hurting anyone. If somebody wants to call me cisgender, I don't care. I have bills to pay. It's not a big deal, and it's not incorrect. You want to call me a bitch? I don't care. It's not what someone calls me, it's what I answer to. And we have to also get a little bit more clear on children and minors. Because when it's, oh, they're doing surgery on children, people are automatically going to think little kids, 9, 8, 9, 10 years old. And that's not happening. People are using the word children specifically to make others think one way, when the word children is being used just simply as someone who is not an adult. The standards of care They don't really even talk about any type of surgery until somebody's like 16. Or depending upon the laws of the state. And like if people are okay with teenagers, 16, 17 years old, getting breast augmentation, that's gender affirming care. If a female teenager, 16, 17 years old, goes in because she wants bigger boobs, that is gender affirming care. Because it's care affirming her gender. Not all women are busty, which is okay. That's the next thing. What if they're smaller breasted? They're going to get questioned if they go into a ladies' room, like your boobs aren't big enough. I mean, that's just, think about it. Should a trans woman that is not fully physically transitioned be in a locker room or a changing room or in a space for biological women? That's going to depend on the circumstance. As a biological woman, there are, and it's like, I don't care if I see some dude's junk or if a trans woman hasn't had bottom surgery. Like, I don't care if I see that. It's I have the right to not show my body to people. So, like, there's times where I'm not comfortable changing in front of a bunch of women. I'm modest in that respect. My body is private to me and to any person that I'm in a relationship with that I choose to share it with. I don't want to be forced to be naked in front of someone with a penis that I'm not having a relationship with. People do have the right to, complain about that. And there has to be we just have to work on finding a happy medium. I don't know why it's such a big deal to just have, like the family, restrooms or non-gender restrooms. Like, I don't see what that big deal is. And well, I'm certainly not a trans person, and I have empathy for people that are. I can see both sides of the debate. And to be clear, it's not debating someone's existence. Trans people exist. They have civil rights. But I also do get how people that don't, understand it, and there's a lot that I don't understand. I do also get how they're uncomfortable. I get, don't tell me what to say. Like, my pronouns are, whatever. Great. They're your pronouns. I'm never going to speak to someone in the third person. So there's no reason for me to really use your pronouns when I'm talking to you. I'm going to use your name, and some of these laws with, the school has to contact the parent if a student wants to go by a different name or have different pronouns or whatever. I see both sides of that. And the comments like, oh, they're, these kids are being encouraged to keep secrets from their parents. There's shit I did as a kid that my parents still don't know. Find a kid that doesn't have at least one thing that they haven't told their parents or haven't talked to their parents about. Stop it. It's not encouraging kids to keep secrets from their parents. It's maybe there's a reason why they didn't tell their parents. Maybe this is something they're just trying out and, they're just feeling out their gender, and which we have freedom of expression, First Amendment. Maybe they just don't want to make a big deal out of it. Maybe their parents are abusive and school is this student's only safe haven where they feel free enough to be who they truly feel that they are, and telling their parents and then sending that kid home to those abusive parents isn't a good thing for the kids. There's a lot of assumption that everybody's parents are great and they're either going to accept their child however they are, or they're going to, lay down the law to their kids. Just because parents are, and this goes all ways, you can have conservative parents and a liberal child, and vice versa. You can have liberal parents and a conservative child. Straight parents with a gay kid, gay parents with a straight kid. Who your parents are doesn't, we hear the talk that, children in the womb, they are completely separate entities. Well, if they're completely separate entities, then that means that, as they grow, they should have the right to make their own choices and decisions about who they are as people. And as parents, we're there to guide them. I'm fortunate with my son, who's grown. He's grown now. And it was more important for me growing up that he grew up to be a good person, that he have good qualities. I didn't care what he chose for a job because I'm not going to be working that job. He's going to be working that job. So, I've only ever wanted for him to be happy, be responsible, tell the truth, be kind to people. And that's who he is. If my son, who's straight, if he came to me tomorrow and said that he was gay or bisexual or trans, my love for my son is not going to change, not an iota, not an atom of my love for my kid. Harm my kid at your own peril. And which is hilarious for me to say because he is 6'5" and I am 5'4", but it's, my son can be whoever he wants to be as long as he is a good person, as long as he does right and what's actually right, and this whole they're grooming our kids. No, they're not. No, they're not. Learning about the differences that people have. It's not grooming. It's not indoctrination. It's education. Knowledge is power. You know, and it's we really need to get back to the truth. There are no kids, children, little children. There are no little children getting trans surgeries. The standard of care for children, young children, is definitely therapy, and not just a couple, meetings with a therapist, extended therapy, and maybe, depending upon the child's age, puberty blockers. There's, I think it was Florida, which why not? That their law ending gender affirming care also applies to trans adults. Where's the freedom in that? We're supposed to be the land of the free. That just doesn't mean free as I define it. And yeah, we have laws against crimes and everything else, but those are one citizen causing harm upon another. Someone being trans doesn't hurt anyone else. It's an individual thing. There was a case in Mississippi earlier this week where a trans female who'd been trans female all of high school. Well, now it's time for graduation. And the school was telling her that you need to wear pants, socks, a button-down shirt. You need to put on male clothing in order to walk at your graduation. You need to have male clothing on under your robe or under the gown. And went to court, and the court ruled like the day of graduation that nope, the school can say what you can wear. And then there was another person at that same school, biological female, who wore pants and was told at graduation, you can't wear the pants. So you can either go put on a dress because you're a female, biologically female, or you can just take the pants off and walk in your underwear. If the whole logic behind that is that, one, that's ridiculous to tell a student you can walk at graduation in your underwear. That's ridiculous. Whether it's a female student, male student, whatever, non-binary student, whoever. To tell a student, a high school student who is by definition, like that's going to be a minor, that you can walk in your underwear under your robes. Well, the logic behind that is that you can't see what's under the robes. Like, they go to the floor, they zip all the way up. Well, if somebody can wear their underwear under their graduation gown, then who gives a shit what they wear under their gown? If I can walk in my underwear because you're not going to see my underwear because it's under my gown, then why do you care if I, as a biological female, am wearing pants? Or if I am a trans female am wearing a dress. You're not going to see what's under my gown. So who cares? And it's just silly stuff like this that it's just we have bigger things to worry about. And are there people that transition and then regret it? Sure. But that doesn't mean that anyone who's trans, like, that's you. And if you thought you were trans and you went through the whole process, when at the end of the day you realize that, oh, you know what? I'm not trans. I'm just gay, or I'm just like a lesbian, like I'm bisexual. It's not that it's I like men, but I am a man, so I feel that I need to transition to being female, or being having a woman's body, or a woman's externally look like a woman, so that I can then say that I'm straight because I like men. And then I realize that, like, I feel like going through all this shit. Like, I'm gay. Like, are there people that are there people that regret transitioning? Sure. Who is there anyone on the planet that doesn't have something that they regret doing? Does that mean that no one gets to do the thing you regret? Freedom. We have the freedom to make mistakes, and yeah, some mistakes cost people a lot. So yeah, if you went through and believing you're trans and you're going through the whole transition and you're having these expensive surgeries to physically change your body, and then afterwards you're, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. This is yeah, that I would imagine that sucks. But at that, then we have to go with personal responsibility. These are choices that you made. So you're responsible for your choices. That doesn't mean that other people can't make the same choice. So, like, we have to get back to truth, freedom, personal responsibility. Because it seems like the people that detransitioned, they're scooped up by people that are anti-trans, going, look, look, look. So what? Somebody regretting something after the fact doesn't mean that, and please don't throw, oh, what about murderers? Nobody's talking about committing crimes upon other people. When you transition, you do that that's to you. So it's not hurting other people. And yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has to get figured out. What if you're, a biological woman and you're married to a biological man, and then your spouse says, you know what? I'm trans and I'm going to fully transition. Do you do you stay with that person because you're straight? What does that do to your individual family? Does that happen? It's such a small amount of the population that, I mean, like, just what are we doing? We don't get to say whether our kids are trans. We don't get to say whether any other person other than ourselves. Like, that's who we have control over, ourselves. So if you're straight, gay, trans, whatever it is, you're allowed to be that. Because at the end of the day, you're a citizen and you have rights. And yeah, we need where a trans person's rights and a cisgender person's rights, or heteronormative, whatever you want to say, where their rights bump up against each other, yeah, we have to work it out and figure out how it's going to go. But that doesn't mean you demonize one group over the other, or dehumanize a group. Trans people are still people. Do I personally like when, a trans woman is named Woman of the Year on anything? Not really. Especially if they're not fully transitioned. Like, no one with a penis should win any type of woman anything because you have a penis. Like, I'm more like sex-based when it comes to that area. Does that mean that I don't, that I'm afraid of I'm not afraid of trans people. I'm not afraid of anybody. But we have to work out where rights bump into one another. Again, I personally don't care if there's a trans woman in the bathroom. I don't care if there is an actual man in the ladies' room. Because these bathroom bills, like, you do have to watch, because if you're a parent with a small child of the opposite sex and they don't have a family bathroom, well, what do you do when your kid has to go to the bathroom? Because I know when my son was small, I took him in the ladies' room with me. There's no damn way I was going to let him go into the men's room by himself. When he's 4, 5, 6 years old. Absolutely not. He came into the ladies' room with me. Or if you're a dad out there with a daughter, he's either got to take her to the men's room or let her go into the ladies' room by herself when she's so young. And what if your kid has a problem getting their pants undone to use the bathroom, or can't climb up on the toilet, isn't tall enough to get up on the toilet? We're going to make that against the law? A dad bringing his daughter into the ladies' room so he can help her go pee with the help that she needs? That's going to be illegal now? Because he's not going in to use the restroom. I know the Florida law does carve out that if you're like a healthcare, like healthcare provider for somebody that's disabled, but you're the opposite sex, you can take that person into their bathroom. But then, okay, say you're a male caregiver of a female patient who's, in a wheelchair. You can take that person into the ladies' room. Okay, but now that's a man in a ladies' room. And the law says it's okay, which I'm okay with it. I'm okay with a male caregiver taking a female patient into the ladies' room. But if we're trying to avoid men in the ladies' room, well, then how does that stop that? If you're saying that man can be in the ladies' room. So doesn't matter if he's a creepy caregiver or he gives off creepy vibes. Nope, the law says that he's allowed to be in there, whether you ladies like it or not. And I am starting to question, like, why is it that women seem to have to be the ones that are like making the changes? Why aren't we seeing where, biological men are making changes? Why is it all on the ladies and on biological women? That's another part that I'm not like I'm starting to not get that. And while this is technically not trans, um well, all right, yeah, maybe it is. June starts Pride Month, and that means that pretty much every major retail company, the majority of them, a huge majority of them, are going to be putting out Pride themed ads, Pride themed merchandise. So, if we can just get over it for June, because we're already seeing, like, oh my God, Target has their Pride clothes out. It's not June yet. Yeah. Have you ever seen Christmas candy put out in October or November 1st? Like, stores don't wait until the month of the event to put out their related merchandise. Like, you go in the day after Valentine's Day and it's, oh, there's Easter candy. Like, stores and companies, they're going to put their Pride merch out now, because the whole point is to buy it before Pride Month so that you can wear it during Pride Month, or you can use it during Pride Month. And the women's, now I do have an issue with, I think it was either Adidas or Nike that has like their Pride Month clothing, and they advertise unisex or gender neutral, like a bathing suit, like board shorts, and they have a, like, male and female model in the picture. But then for the women's, specifically listed as women's swimsuit, they have someone with a penis wearing it. And you can tell they have a penis because of the bulge. Do gay men or trans women wear women's stuff? Sure. If it's a woman's, like why wasn't this also listed as gender neutral? Why was it listed as, women's, and then you've got someone with a penis modeling it? Like, why weren't there both? Like they had for the shorts that were like longer swim trunks. That's not fair. That's not fair to biological women. You want to sell to whoever you want to sell to, I don't give a shit. Beer companies, car companies, I don't care who you market to. Like, Pride Month is coming up. So can we just stop with the fake outrage over any manufacturer doing a Pride theme ad for Pride Month. Companies are going to sell to as many people as they possibly can. That's how it works. That's how it's always worked. So can we just leave the fake outrage? Just put it away. And the whole go woke, go broke, stop it. Woke means awake. It just means you're aware of what's going on. The opposite of woke is asleep. Would you rather be asleep or would you rather be awake? Like woke is it's empathy, it's kindness, it's accepting people. There's nothing wrong with that. That's how we're supposed to be. We're supposed to be good to one another. No matter who the other person is. We're supposed to be good. We're supposed to help each other. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. And just as a reminder, we do have the podcast. We do have some merch. This one in particular, this is the To the Person Behind Me t-shirt. And it says, to the person behind me, you are loved, you are necessary, you're not alone, keep fighting. For as long as I have a podcast and a merch store, a portion of the proceeds of the sale of this t-shirt will be donated to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I wore mine over the weekend, and I always, I had people come up, and either saying like thank you, or that's a cool shirt. Links for the merch store, they are in the description. There's also a pinned comment. We have a Patreon. That's like $5 a month if you want to support the channel that way. Every little bit helps. I am on the road to 1,000. Right now, I don't know why I keep saying we, not monetized. And so every little bit helps. Every comment, every share, every like. Turn on the notification bell to receive notifications. Before I go, I just want to say that I post a series of YouTube shorts that they ask questions. They're designed to spark conversation. I don't hate anyone. I don't think conservatives are bad people. There are things that I am, liberal about. There are things that I'm conservative about. I don't think that conservative people are bad people simply because they're conservative. That's ridiculous. I'm not trying to convert anyone to become a liberal. All I'm trying to do is find ways where we can speak to one another in a civil way, like we used to. That, every single little thing isn't political. There are people that try to make every single little thing political, and I say those people suck. Because so many fall for it and jump on, and then something that wasn't political, now suddenly it's political. No. Wanting to protect our kids, that's not a conservative thing or a liberal thing. That's an everybody thing. That's not something that's political, and when I do these questions in the shorts, they're just questions. I don't Yeah, I mean, there might be a couple where I worded it where it does show what my position is, um, but I'm talking maybe 1 or 2. One was, on Congressman Clay Higgins putting his hands on an American citizen. I think that's disgusting. This this person, while shouting rude questions, wasn't threatening anyone, wasn't armed, wasn't trying to hit anybody or swinging or throwing anything. There was no reason for the congressperson to put his hands on this other man and push him and at points carry him almost out to the street. So there was security there. If this man was an actual threat, like, security would have taken care of it. I found that display by a congressman to be disgusting. So, yeah, I mean, in that one, I did call the congressman's behavior disgusting. And because I don't think that anyone should put hands on anyone else over words. That's the whole point of the First Amendment, where the government shall make no law infringing upon a person's freedom of speech. A congressman is the government. So in this instance, the government stop this man from speaking freely. And then just, if he wasn't a congressman and was just a regular person, you don't put your hands on someone. That's a crime. And this happened outside. We have rights to speak in public. And this member of government stopped a citizen from doing that. So yeah, that one I did, by the use of the word disgusting, I did post my opinion. But other than that, they're just questions, and they're just designed to start conversations. I'm not trying to make a conservative person liberal or an independent liberal. I'm not. It's about time that we started talking to one another again as people, that we stop with name calling, that we use the actual truth and not the truth as we would like it to be, and we just deal more fairly with each other, because there are ways to find common ground. It's just hard to do when you've got one side yelling FJB and you've got another side yelling F Trump. What does that solve? What problem does that fix? So, my agenda, if you want to call it an agenda, is to get people talking to one another in a respectful way. And that's it. Feel free to remain conservative, liberal, independent, Green Party, whatever you are. It's all good. I don't hate anyone. I don't think poorly of anyone based on their political leanings. I don't like taking a little bit of something and twisting it to make it into something that it's not. I do research the clips that I post and the shorts that I make. There have been many stories that I've seen, from like the liberal media. For example, one in particular was this, Jim Jordan wants to investigate Hillary Clinton again. And, with an article. The article that references a video of a portion of a interview with him all he says is that everything's on the table. He doesn't specifically say, well, yeah, we're going to go do this, or yeah, we want to go do that. It's just everything's on the table. So, I didn't do a short about that because I don't believe that what's being attributed to him is what he said. So, I'm not out trying to push liberal viewpoints. I'm trying to get liberals, conservatives, independents, Green Party people, all the different people to talk to one another. Not just talk to one another, but listen to one another. Because that's where we're missing too. It's a lot of it is talking to respond or listening to respond instead of just listening to understand or listening to listen. I've gotten a lot of great comments on the shorts, where it's people from all sides of the political spectrum. So there is hope. Thank you for almost just shy of 200 subscribers on YouTube. I'm very excited about that. And I am just under like 100,000 views. So I'm very excited about that. It's been, I think tomorrow will be a month of episodes, not counting the premiere, because the premiere that was just a premiere to say hi to everybody and to figure out how to turn on all the buttons. But as far as like the first actual episode, keep your eye out for the rest of the week. I know there will be another episode on Friday at 7, but I may pop on. So it's good to have the notification bell selected so that anytime I pop on, which everyone, you're all welcome every single time, you'll get those notifications. And I just want to thank everyone so far for all of the support, for the comments, the likes, the shares, the subscribing, coming on the live streams, even if it's just for a few minutes, just popping in, that's fine. I appreciate all of it. And it really does give me hope that, we can affect positive change, which is what I really want to do. And I will never, if somebody has a different position on something than I have, I will never use this podcast to make fun of that person or to put them down. Because I know what it feels like to be made fun of and put down. And it's horrible. And I would never do that to another person. So, thank you all for listening, for watching, for joining in. And I will see you next time. Have a wonderful evening.